Yo, what's up, everybody? Eric, your friend, your friendly Asian Eric here, strength and conditioning coach, with one of the coolest and one of the guys that was one of my most favorite guys to train, because when he came to train, he was always ready to soak up anything that I was saying. He was always asking questions, and you know the old saying, "There's no stupid questions." Well, there is no stupid question. This guy would just keep asking and soaking it up. And, you know, this guy knows probably more than me about strength and conditioning by now. So we have here the man, ex-UFC fighter, Jeff the Inferno Joslin, who's teaching a fight crew down at Joslin's MMA in Hamilton. And some of you have seen him before. You know him. I talk about him all the time. Awesome dude. Thanks for being here, Jeff.
My pleasure. Always good talking with Eric, and brought back a lot of memories right there talking about our training together, and definitely something that I miss a lot after retiring.
Yeah, man. Actually, I was looking through my digital pictures the other day, and I don't know if you remember the picture of, it was like a super foggy day. I think it was, what was it, October, November, something like that, and we were outdoors doing the energy circuit, and I think you were throwing the medicine ball up, lying on the ground. You had the red tracksuit jacket on, I think the gray pants, and I was pumping the Wu-Tang Clan out of my car to try and pump you up a little bit, give you as much help as I could. I don't know if you remember that one.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I think that was before the Nuri Shakir fight, maybe. I believe, or Koscheck, I'm not sure. But it was, I remember that day. It was crappy weather, but we pushed through.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was a wicked workout. Okay, so we have here Jeff, and Jeff has just launched a book on mental training for MMA. And I know when we were training together, Jeff would do this kind of, we'd talk about it all the time. I didn't think it was weird. I thought it was really good because I was studying that stuff too. He would talk about things like visualization. He would talk about things about strategy and mental training. And that's what this book is all about. And I just wanted to get Jeff to share some of the most powerful tips from that. So also, because he's a coach and he's a fighter, he's been around the dressing room a lot, and you see a lot of fighters doing a lot of different things. So can you tell us maybe one mistake that you see fighters either in the dressing room before a fight or even the day of, one mistake that they make in getting ready and preparing?
Well, I think, seeing some things that stick out of my mind, probably sometimes they over warm up, and I think a lot of that's based on fact that they aren't prepared mentally for a fight, so they think if they do more in the back, if they drill more moves or drill more reps or ask questions to their coach, or they have to repeat these moves to ensure that they are prepared for the fight, and by the time fight day comes along, you really have to be ready totally, physically, mentally. All your techniques are pretty much autopilot, so there's really no need to warm up too much. Really you just want to warm up and get a light sweat going. And that's about it. Maybe do a couple reps of hitting some pads a little bit. I don't even really do any grappling techniques. A lot of guys are on the ground rolling all over the place, drilling everything, and pretty much spending an entire round or two in the dressing room rather than saving it for the fight. So, and I think that, again, goes back to not being prepared mentally. So those last minute doubts make you think, oh, am I ready? What am I going to do if I fall on the bottom? What am I going to do if I get in a cage? What am I going to do if the guy hits me in the face? And you can't worry about those at that point in time. These are things that you have to be addressed beforehand. So, a lot of guys spend a lot of energy in their warm-up, and you can see in their fight, why are they gassed out in the first round or second round when they look in great shape? They've done all their cardio conditioning. Every fighter's in great shape, but why do some guys end up getting gassed out? Could be the warm-up.
Yeah, man. I see that often too. People, they're nervous, so they're using that nervous energy to warm up, and it's just too much. They're outputting too much, so yeah, they're draining their reserves. One thing actually that we can segue to is, I was reading in your book about taking damage. There you go, taking damage. That was one thing that I noticed in your book you were talking about a little bit. So can you just mention a little bit about how to bounce back from taking damage and how to be durable when taking damage?
Well, what happens is really the ultimate underlying principle in this book is you cannot think a positive and a negative at the same time. So when you don't train your mind, and this was early on in my career in grappling tournaments, I talk about it in the book, but there's some tournaments where I went in and I just walked through guys. I won the Pan American Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Championships as a purple belt, and that was a few months after I first got introduced to mind training. And I was so positive. Everything was, what am I going to do to my opponent? What am I going to do in the next fight? I wasn't thinking about negative things. And, then other matches I had when I wasn't training my mind, I thought about, worried about he was strong or he's going to try to take me down. And my mentality was different. So what happens in MMA, that's just in grappling. So you can see if you don't train your mind, it could react either way. You have no control over which way it goes on competition day. But when you take damage in MMA, what does it do? It knocks you into a negative frame of mind. You just got punched in the face. You just got your nose broken. In my case with the John Fitch fight, I got headbutted and I felt my teeth collapse. And I was like, that can set you into a negative mindset. But I had trained myself so hard and I had my mental training system down so well, 3 times a day I would do it, only for 5 minutes. But when he hit me, it was not negative at all. My teeth collapsed and I was like, okay, buddy, you're about to go down. And it was all positive. And I just took it to him after that. And I didn't let anything he did. I felt invincible in the fight. Against him. And when I fought Josh Koscheck, same thing. Nuri Shakir, no nerves at all. And you can't afford to think negative. Once your mind gets knocked into a negative state, it's all downhill from that. And it's very hard to recover. Especially if you're not taking damage. But if you're taking damage as well, then it's going to be even tougher to get back on that positive track.
Awesome advice there, dude. And folks, for you watching at home, I threw that one at Jeff without giving him a chance to prepare, just because I wanted to show you guys that this guy, it's not just stuff that he read a bunch of books and then he just threw a book together and now he's trying to sell you a book. This guy has used this stuff for years, like he said, 3 times a day, 5 minutes, over and over and over, and he knows what it feels like after you do use it. So that's what I really respect about this book, Monster in the Cage, and why I highly recommend checking it out. Okay, so now let's move on to the regular scheduled questions. Dealing with the loss, any advice that you can give guys?
You just have to realize, actually, I talk about that in the book as well. It's not just a mental training system, but I talk about little things that I've learned over the years, and we all face losses, and not losing is just part of the game. It's a step forward. You can't be fearing a loss. If you fear loss, you try so hard not to lose. And that's a huge difference than trying to win a fight. You can try not to lose a fight and do pretty good, but your chances of winning are very slim. But when you go out to win a fight, then you maximize your chances and minimize your chances of losing. So if you do end up losing, it's okay. It's another step. If you look at any successful person in business, mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, anything in life, they have a long list of failures in their past that you don't hear about. People don't realize that because they think all of a sudden they see them successful, oh, they're a natural. They're just successful. That's just they were born that way. But you look back and we've all had our defeats before we arrived in a position where people started calling us a natural at whatever we do. So you just got to take it in stride and don't worry too much about it. And just know that this is actually part of the chapter in the book is know going forward that after your next win, nobody's going to be talking about your loss. So you're going to bear with it for a while. People are going to ask you about this and that, or give you different advice and stuff like that. But just know they're going to forget about it when you're back on the winning track. And like the words of Randy Couture told me one time. He said, "Losing a fight is the worst thing that happens to me. I'm doing pretty good in life. So things could be a lot worse. That's not a big deal. You're out there testing yourself, and win or lose, you're going to be a better person because of it."
Yeah, that's one thing that I really like about the book too, is that you have those analogies and you relate it to not just fighting, but you throw in about life in general. And I think that's useful for anybody, not just a fighter, not just martial artist, but anybody who wants to be happy, wants to live a happy life. So, how about on the flip side, a win? How about mentally dealing when you win?
First you go out, you celebrate, hopefully you're didn't put you in the hospital, because you're going to be in the emergency room getting checked out. But, You know, you get to the after party, you celebrate with your friends and family, and you get back to the grind. You don't, you know, never did I have a fight and then I took a long time off. Some guys take a week or two off after a fight, and you know why? My quest was not just to win fights. My quest was to become the best mixed martial arts fighter I could be. You know, and that's really why I ask all those questions of all my trainers. You know, I picked their brains because I wanted to become the best I could be. So after a win, you got to get back and don't gloat on it. Just know that you can become better and better and better. And every time you go to a fight, the new fighter in the next fight should smash yourself if you went against the fighter in the fight previously. So you always have to become better and better when you win or lose. Well, sometimes when you win, you don't realize that you need to improve things still. But that was just your night. You won the fight, but you still have to make improvements and work on your game and become better and better and just get back in there and improve.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. And yeah, that's definitely one thing that you were constantly doing, is always learning new technique. I mean, still, how many more techniques do you know in BJJ compared to, say, 2 years ago, for example?
No, I was just talking about that the other day. You know, I feel so good to be back training after I was, you know, a few years with post-kick syndrome. But now, honestly, I'm a way better grappler at 38 years old than
a little louder.
I'm a better grappler now at 38 than when I was 31. When I was in UFC shape, now I'm a much better grappler, and I made big improvements since even back then. So it never ends. You know, this mixed martial arts would take 5 lifetimes, and you still wouldn't learn everything you need to learn. So you keep an open mind and feel like your cup is always half full. You know, a lot of fighters feel like their cup is full and they know it all, and they're already a good striker and they're already a good jiu-jitsu, but you know, there's definitely big room for improvement, even at the highest levels.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is a truth right there. Monster in the Cage, can you give us one of the most powerful techniques in there, other than what you've already talked about?
Really, I'm happy with the way it came out. There's a lot of little kind of tidbits of information that's going to help everybody in a different way, because everybody, you know, we all need help in different areas. So, but I'd say really it's a self-analysis. Looking back at your past, there's a section where you look back at your past performances, and you get to see what was going on in your head. I teach you guys how to, you know, get into your head and what you were feeling, because there's certain thoughts you were thinking when you were performing at your best and images that you saw, and then when you're performing at your worst, you'll be surprised how drastically different those images and thoughts were when you were performing bad. So by identifying those, then what happens is we get into the strengthening, and we reinforce those positive thoughts so that you can think them all the time, instead of just being random luck which type of mindset appears in competition time.
Nice, man. Nice. That is a super powerful tip right there. I suggest taking notes on that one and implementing that as soon as possible. Okay, I want to go through the, you might have seen that image here. That's a sick image. I know you did that yourself too, right?
One are you showing? I can't...
Can you see it here? The Ebook cover.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did that one.
It's pretty nice, man. Pretty nice. Okay, let's go through a little bit of the table of contents, just kind of see what stands out here. And we got a little bit of story, background, and like I said, view on life, talking about not just fighting and sports, because ultimately it's sports, you know, it's just a game. It's not real life. There's a whole other side of things to do and to be successful in.
Eric, you know, that's something originally my information and my experience was all mixed martial arts. You know, I could tell you everything about mind training and preparation for fights in mixed martial arts. But when I retired from fighting, when I was forced to retire, you know, at 31, way too early, I had to, you know, face regular life. And I realized that a lot of these principles applied to regular life. So that's where that other half of the chapter talks about regular life, is how I applied those, you know, the same things that you learn in mixed martial arts to regular life as well. And I'll tell you that fight in regular life was tougher than any cage fight. So I definitely think you know, assessing your weaknesses and reinforcing your positive thoughts plays off helpful in every aspect.
Nice, man. Thank you for sharing that. How about the mind training zone next? Chapter 4. What's that all about?
Mind training zone is a state of mind compared to being hypnotized. Because I was hypnotized before, and that's all in the book. I tell a little bit of story about that. But it's kind of self-hypnosis where you kind of get yourself into a very relaxed state, and it's where your mind is more susceptible to the suggestions and the thoughts that you think and the images that you put into your mind. So those thoughts get a little deeper, and that's pretty much the state of mind where we're able to program the thoughts that we want to think repeatedly and automatically. Anytime a negative thought pops in, your mind, it's the practice that you do while in that mind training zone that will knock that negative thought right away out of your mind and replace it with a positive one. Where if you don't train your mind, that just doesn't happen. And like I said, it's so hard to get back on a positive track when you're thinking negatively. Think about any time you're in life where you're thinking negatively. It takes a couple of days to get out of that type of mindset. Where this type of training is just boom, your body deflects it. It's like a protective mechanism.
Right. It's like when I see the fly and I'm eating rice with chopsticks and I just kind of grab it. It's just automatic.
Godless. That's right. Why you're a black belt, my friend. Like it.
in fly catching. Chopstick fly catching. Okay, let's keep going down here. So you got the mind training zone, you got exercises. It's like a 4-week program. That's pretty cool. Self-analysis, you talked about that already. Assessing your own performances and kind of identifying the thoughts that surrounded those performances. And you got your fighter creed. What's this? That sounds interesting. Sounds kind of like, is it similar to affirmations?
I'm going to have to pause for 1 second. I got to plug my computer in here. It's going to die. 1 second.
Yeah, so I might as well keep rapping here while I'm here. Another story about Jeff. Jeff and his ground beef when he was on the diet. He's not cutting weight, but just bringing his weight down. And I go over to this guy's place. What's he do? He fires up the George Foreman grill. Like, what are you going to do with that? Make some burgers? Pretty cool. Fires up the Foreman grill, takes out a package of ground beef. I think it was still half frozen, like the middle was still frozen, and just slaps that thing. Like, no pepper, no sea salt, no garlic, nothing. Just slapped it in there and started. I think that was his whole meal.
All right, I think we're back, fully charged.
Yes. All right. I was just telling I don't know if you heard me, but I was telling the story about the ground beef on the George Foreman grill.
Yes.
Yeah. Half frozen ground beef.
Yeah, not. You don't want me on too much nutrition advice. It's not. It'll do the job. It'll get you ripped, but it won't be fun in the process eating it. So the fighter creed is what I call the fighter creed is it's a bunch of phrases that you end up putting together and creating, and I tell you how to create it, and using many different rules and stuff, and then it's a thoughts. Phrases that you're going to repeat in your mind mentally over and over again throughout the system in your training, and then these are the thoughts that are going to replace the thoughts that are negative. You're going to get the positive thoughts that charge you up, make you perform at your best, and this is constantly changing. You're going to try certain thoughts and certain images, and then if it doesn't work for you, you can tweak it and change it and make it work better for you. So it's a constant evolution in creating the perfect fighter creed for yourself.
Nice, just like everything else, eh? Martial arts, get your white belt to black belt. All right, so you know what? I think you can see people at home. I think you can see that. Hopefully, there's a lot more. That's just the first half, and there's really a lot of meat here. Now I've skimmed the book. I haven't read it. I plan on reading it this weekend. But I've skimmed the book, and from what I see, it's practical. There's a little bit of theory there, but Jeff's not an egghead sitting in a classroom lecturing to hungover 20-year-olds at some university. He's a guy who's used this stuff. He's developed it and refined it over time, not just over like a day or a month, but over years of a professional fighting career. And this is extremely valuable. This is not something that you can find everywhere. So I would highly recommend you check it out. You know, if this sounds good to you, if you're a mixed martial artist, you have to read this book. If you're the type of person who is interested in living a positive life, a life where you're constantly improving in all different areas, then get this book. And right now you can grab it. Website MMAmindtrainer.com. So that's Jeff's book. Jeff, thanks a lot for being here. It's always, fun hanging out, chatting with you, and I think we should do it a little more often.
For sure, man. And thanks for all the help you give me over the years. Definitely. Anybody that follows your stuff, I always push them towards you because you are attention to detail is great, and great guy as well, and that's why I think we hit it off so well back in the days.
So that's Jeff's book. Jeff, thanks a lot for being here. It's always fun hanging out, chatting with you, and I think we should do it a little more often.
For sure, man. And thanks for all the help you give me over the years. Definitely. Anybody that follows your stuff, I always push them towards you because you are attention to detail is great, and great guy as well, and that's why I think we hit it off so well back in the days. Bounce things off each other, and like I said, I definitely miss training together. But this is awesome as well.
All right, guys. Let's all thank Jeff. Make sure you leave a comment. Just thank him. Give him a thumbs up, whatever. Just show your gratitude, because that's how we do it around here. All right, guys. Thanks again. We will talk again soon, and you'll hear from Jeff again soon, I'm sure. See you guys.
Later, guys.